Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar of the business definition of Derek F. Abell. Derek F. Abell invented the business definition in his book in 1969, and it's a really important model. You use this model to define in which business you are active in. A lot of times during strategic marketing planning or during writing your business plan, it's kind of hard to define in which business you really are active in, and to make sure that you are analyzing the right business or the right market. This is why Derek F. Abell invented this model. The model looks like this. You have three axes. The first axis is the customer axis. This is customer group. So who are buying your kind of product? Not essentially your product only, but your kind of product. And the second axis is what benefits are they searching for, or what needs do they have? So the customer functions, also mentioned like that, is what are these customers searching in your product? What kind of needs do they have? The last axis is how do they fulfill these needs? Via which technologies? So the technology axis is the last one. In what way, with what technology are they fulfilling these needs? It's really important in this model that the clock walks like this. So you start with the customers, you ask yourself what needs do they have, and the last one is what functions are there to fulfill these needs, which technologies. Often you can think of this axis as an axis where you and your competition are in. So you fulfill needs, but your competition fulfills needs too. Now, it's really important that you segment the axis of the customers really clear. It's impossible, for instance, to use segmentation on age, segmentation on geographic aspects, and segmentation on, for instance, psychological ways. For instance, if you have students in the age of 18-21 and they live, they're living by themselves, or they're living at home, or they are working, if you're all going to use these different types of segmentation on one axis, you're going to lose it, and that doesn't really clarify which group you are targeting. Now, there are a few rules of segmentation which you have to bear in mind. For instance, customers who are involved in making your purchase decisions. That's an aspect of segmentation. The other aspect is the size of each market should be big enough to target on. Because if it's too small, you rather want to choose a different way of segmentation. Now, another one is you should it should distinguish the segment from each other. For instance, somebody with the age of 18 is not 21. Or for instance, somebody that lives in the north of your country doesn't live in the south of your country. Okay, so these distinguish each other. Another one is that you really should be able to reach this segment. For instance, think of media. If you're talking about students, they are working on a university or on their school, then it's an easy way to target them, because if I would do a flyer team there or have posters in the halls, then in the hallways, then it's easy to target them or to reach them. Or if they all read a certain paper, newsletter or paper, then you could advertise in that paper and you can reach them. Yes? Okay, so let's continue with the model. So we have the customer groups. Let's use for this example a fast food chain. So a fast food restaurant. If we have this fast food restaurant, how could I segment my group for this fast food restaurant? We could use For instance, heavy users, average users, light users, or even non-users. And you might think, non-users, why non-users? Because there are a lot of people that don't go to fast food restaurants because of their health or because of certain reasons. So we should remember that there are also non-users. Now, what benefits are these users searching for? What kind of needs do they have? We're going to search for, in every group, what kind of needs they could have. For instance, they are, first of all, hunger. They are hungry, so they're going to the fast food restaurant and they want to make sure that they're not hungry anymore by eating the food. Or they just want to buy to eat. Or they just are packaged, they have an appetite, not really necessarily hunger, but yeah, let's just get grab a bite to eat. Maybe it's for a certain group, it's cheaper than going to a real restaurant where you have 3 courses or 5 courses or whatever. And of course, you also have people that just don't go to the fast food restaurant, but still, people who are average users, light users, or non-users also have these kind of needs. A good way to think of this need axis is to use the pyramid of Maslow. Please look it up. Maslow has a pyramid and they have primary functions, secondary functions, etc. until the top. And if you think of it as this way, you can see kind of the pyramid in this needs axis. Now, how do these customers fulfill these needs? In several ways. If we look at it product-wise, you could think of it as that we have burgers, we have fries, we have wraps, maybe we have salads. And these are the main products that a fast food restaurant of your choice has. But others, as I mentioned earlier, competition is on this axis as well. Others maybe have healthy sandwiches, for instance, or even biological food, which your fast food restaurant doesn't have. But still, if you look at the light users, and they want good healthy food, or they want, maybe they want, have appetite, they could fulfill these needs with products of your competition. And this is why it's so important to use this model at the start of your planning process. Why? Because as you can see, you have your customer analysis. And on your technological axis, or technology axis, this is your competition analysis. Both of them have their place in the meso analysis. Now, if you have defined these groups with their benefits and the technologies, which are your own technologies, plus those of your competition. The same goes for your consumers, or consumers that are non-users yet. You can draw your scope. Now your scope is the box that you plot in your model. The scope is what you are doing now. It's your current business, your current technologies, the current benefits that you fulfill, and the current or the current needs that you fulfill, and the current customers that you have. Outside of that box is your domain, your business domain. You have growth opportunities there. So, if you did your analysis and you find out that there are certain groups which are really interesting for you, you could decide later in your planning process, see step 5 and further of the planning process, you could use that as a growth, or there is maybe growth potential. So you could broaden your scope. You could also do something else. You can also narrow your scope. This is called the focus strategy via the axis of the generic competitive strategies of Porter. A focus strategy could be a decision because you found out in your meso analysis that certain customer groups are not interesting for you anymore. So, resume. You start your Abell's business definition at the starting points of your planning process. This is to define in which business you are in and to define which market you should do as a research for your meso analysis, but also in your internal analysis, you are analyzing, are my current customer groups interesting or not, interesting enough or not. On the end, you make your decision, you found out that this market is attractive or not attractive, and you could make your choice to make your scope bigger, broader, because you found out that customer groups are more interesting than you thought, or you could narrow your scope and go for a focus strategy. This is why you use the business definition of Abell. This is the end of this webinar. I hope you found this model interesting, and I hope you found this webinar interesting and you have a better understanding of the business definition of Abell. Please also watch my other videos. You can find them in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next webinar. Bye.